Chapter 22 is about national differences of wages. Marx asks the question, why are wages different in different countries? He outlines a few factors here. In the comparison of the wages in different nations, we must therefore take into account all the factors that determine changes in the amount of the value of labor power. The price and the extent of the prime necessities of life as naturally and historically developed, the cost of training the laborers, the part played by the labor of women and children, and the productiveness of labor, its extensive and intensive magnitude. So let's just go through these factors one by one. The development of the price of products. This is important as labor needs products to survive, and hence this will have an effect on necessary labor. There are lots of reasons prices are different in different countries. For example, in Venezuela, you'll have very low fuel prices because that country just has a lot of oil locally available. They just have a lot of natural resources in that way. Or the price of rice in China will be lower than in other places simply because the climate in China lends itself to growing it locally. So this factor is in large part determined by the environment of a certain country. However, other things such as a class struggle also play into this factor. The cost of training workers. So we have very differently trained labor forces around the world. Some countries, such as Taiwan or Austria, specialize on highly skilled work producing microprocessors or vehicle parts. Other countries, such as Russia, leverage their large landmass to export grain. Workers in these different sectors simply require different amounts of training. Labor of women and children. To what extent do women and children participate in the workforce? They could be used as a source of cheap labor and can therefore drive down wages in general. As a side note, Marx also mentions that importing labor can be a factor here. So if you have a very mobile global workforce, this could decrease the differences in wages around the world, since people will just move to higher paying countries, driving down the wages there. Now, if we look at all this, we can rank countries by productivity and wage levels. Marx includes a small table here comparing productivity. I'll put it up on the screen. And I've taken the liberty to plug this into Excel so we can just sort of see a graphical representation of what's going on here. Marx takes the number of spindles per worker as a proxy for productivity, which kind of makes sense because if one worker can work a lot of spindles, that worker must be very productive. We can see here that at this time, Great Britain was the most productive country, at least according to these metrics. Belgium and Austria seem to be sort of in the middle of the pack, at around 49 to 50 spindles per person. And France is dead last, with one person only managing 14 spindles. Come on, France. What the heck?